What is going on? We are back talking about the top 5 most shocking teams in the 2023 MLB season. Let's get right into this. At number 5 is the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nobody really predicted that they were going to be this good. They are currently one of the best teams in baseball with a 43-29 record in first place. It's crazy, you didn't see this coming. Kendall Marte is coming back with a vengeance, having a resurgent year, coming back to what he was a few years back, along with guys like Christian Walker, who's absolutely mashing, L'Oreal Gurez Jr., who is playing fantastic this year, and cannot forget Corbin Carroll, who is absolutely killing it with 15 home runs, 38 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, and a .305 batting average, which is an absolute fantastic season. If I have to say anything, I feel like their starting pitching might be a massive problem for them outside of Zach Gallen and Muir Carey. It leaves a lot left to be desired. They are not necessarily dominating, although their bullpen has been lights out, and that could honestly single-handedly help the Diamondbacks stay in first place and stay in contention to win the NL West, and have been a very, very surprising team coming into this season. At number 4 is the Texas Rangers. I did not expect them to be good this year. They are one of the best teams in baseball, leading the AL West, which is crazy to think since the defending champions Astros play there. And how are they doing it? They are doing it coming off of a bunch of players performing out of their minds. Nathan Lowe still performing extremely well like he did last year. Jonah Heim has come out to be one of the better hitting in just general this season. You got guys like Josh Lugg, who's having a fantastic rookie year with 14 home runs and 43 RBIs. And then you got guys like Corey Seager, who's batting .363. Insane, just absolutely psychotic. And then you got Marcus Semien, who's having another solid Marcus Semien type of year. You got a bunch of good guys coming off the bench. Garcia, their outfielders, still having a fantastic season. And the craziest thing is their pitching has been pretty solid this season. And Jacob deGrom's been pretty much hurt most of the year, which is a huge loss when that was their big free agent signing. That was the guy who kind of put him in that contention where they could have been a wild card team, but I did not expect him to be leading this division. I just didn't see this coming. And I think it's honestly shocking because when you look throughout their lineup, outside of Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, you just don't see those big name guys who you're like, oh yeah, that guy is absolutely phenomenal. Most of the guys are no-namers for the most part. It is crazy what they are achieving this season, especially losing their ace starter at the very beginning of the year. That's why they are one of the most surprising teams in baseball. At number 3 is the Miami Marlins. I did not see this coming out of the Marlins, and looking at the roster, it really doesn't explain how they're doing it. You guys like Brian De La Cruz is having a great year. Jess Chisholm's actually been on the IR, so it's a little crazy that they are still performing this well, and he wasn't even playing anything special when he was playing. But you got guys like Jorge Soler, who's batting .260 with 20 home runs, which is absolutely crazy. Got guys like Uriel Gora, anyway, who's just doing, what he usually does. You also got guys like Garrett Cooper and Jacob Sterling, who are okay enough coming off the bench. But looking at this roster, you would imagine that their pitching has to carry them, and realistically, their starting pitching's been not anything special. I mean, a lot of them have 4+ ERAs. Then you got, their bullpen's been pretty solid to this point, but nothing too crazy themselves. The only thing on this team that's been absolutely insane is Arias, who is currently batting .400, almost at the midway point in the season, which is absolutely unheard of. And it's realistically might be just wheeling the Miami Marlins to where they are, because I didn't expect them to be second place in the East, given how stacked that division is. Now, granted, a couple teams haven't performed too well, but they have played extremely well this season. And it must just be something with Miami, as the Florida Panthers, which play in Miami, just made the Stanley Cup Finals, and the Miami Heat just made the NBA Finals, so maybe just Miami's got something going for them this year. And that's why the Marlins are performing. I can't think of anything. That's why I think they are one of the most shocking teams in baseball. At number 2 is the Baltimore Orioles. They have been absolutely fantastic this year. They have been one of the best teams in baseball. They would be winning the division if the Tampa Bay Rays did not exist. As my favorite team, I can't say enough that I am super excited how the season is going. And how is it happening? It's really been off the basis of a guy named Adley Rutschman. Since he's came up to the major league, the Orioles went from being one of the worst teams in baseball to being one of the best. And on top of him, you got guys like Ryan Mountcastle, who's still having an okay season. Gunnar Henderson has also joined the squad and has gotten hot here as late after Cedric Mullins has gone down with an injury, who is also having a solid season. And on top of it, you got guys like Ryan O'Hearn just out of nowhere having a career year. It's insane. They picked up Aaron Hicks after he left the Yankees, and he's been fantastic for the Orioles. And just whatever they do just seems to work this season. It's been coming together pretty well, despite the fact their starting pitching hasn't been anything too crazy. Tyler Wells has been really good for the most part. Kyle Bradish has been solid, and same thing with Kyle Gibson. But, Dean Kramer has been okay at best. And you got guys like Grayson Rodriguez, who is supposed to be the next big thing on the Orioles, the other big prospect that comes up. And he got sent back down because he was not playing very well. And despite all this, the Orioles just keep on winning. And a big part of it comes from Yarmer Cano, who has an ERA under 1 coming out of the bullpen, and Felix Bautista, the Mountain, with an ERA of 1.8, which is absolutely crazy. He is having a phenomenal closing season. He has been absolutely outstanding for the Baltimore Orioles since coming up to the major leagues. And that is really a huge part, is the Baltimore Orioles bullpen has been elite. At least the back end has. Some of the middle parts can be a little bit iffy if the starters can't get to like 5 or 6 innings. But this bullpen has been one of the best in baseball, along with guys like Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson. It's just been an absolute phenomenal season by the Orioles, and I kind of hope to see how it keeps going and see if they can't get into first place in the East. And at number 1 is the Cincinnati Reds. Nobody saw this coming. This is the definition of surprising. They're currently, and the point of making this video, first place in the Central, which is absolutely crazy. A couple of their guys are having solid seasons. Spencer Steer, Jonathan India, Jake Fraley. They're all having really good years, nothing too crazy. TJ Fried. They're all having, solid seasons, but nothing too crazy. Not a team you would think would be making a playoff push, especially when you turn around and look at how their pitching's been. For the most part, their starters have been lackluster, to say the least. Their bullpen has actually been really solid, and that is a huge reason on why the Reds have been so competitive. I know right now they have been on a long win streak, but as a team that most people expected that was going to be probably dead last at most in the Central, one of the worst teams in baseball right there with the Oakland A's, for the fact that they are contending for a playoff spot this late into the season. Now I get it, it's not even midway through, but a team like that you just don't expect to be somewhat competitive. Nobody saw this coming out of the Reds, and it's absolutely crazy. And they are the definition of surprising, and they are the most surprising team in baseball right now. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one.